Good morning, YouTube viewers. How is everyone doing today? Good? Good. So today is going to be my first installment on how to play Magic the Gathering. Today I will be explaining the 6 colors of land and the 6 different colors in Magic. I will be explaining the phases during combat and show you a little gameplay so you can try and get a feel on how to play Magic. Hopefully by the end of this video you would feel confident enough to take your new skills to go to a gaming store and play FNM, Friday Night Magic. And with that on the note, guys, let's go ahead and go in on these cards and let's start explaining what each of them do. To start off the set, we have the color white. It focuses on healing, restoration, and protection. White has the ability to protect your creatures. Next up, we have the color blue. Blue is the control. If you like to make people feel upset, you would love the color blue. Not only does blue have some strong creatures in the late game, but blue also has some of the best draw power cards in the game. The color black right over here. This color is Death and Decay. They will win the game at any cost. They focus on hurting themselves to get ahead to hurt their enemy. Now, if you guys are quick on the gun or you like to end games quickly, red is your color. Red is the color of fire. It shows that you are an aggressive player. Then we have the color green, the forest right over here. Green is the power of growth and nature. They have these really amazing cards that allow you to ramp up mana so that you could summon stronger creatures and higher mana cost creatures earlier in the game. They have a really strong creature basis. And then the 6th color, we have the colorless mana. It is literally just nothing. It has no mana. Its mana cost is colorless. It doesn't use any of the 5 other colors, but right now, because of the Battle for Zendikar, colorless is a really big thing. So now that we have our general idea of the 6 colors, we will move on to the next part. We will now explain the phases of a turn. So, to begin the phases of a turn, you have to have a deck. A deck in Magic the Gathering consists of at least 60 cards. To have your deck to be the most efficient, you want to make sure you have 60 cards. You want a certain amount of land. It depends if you're running an aggro deck, if you are running a control deck, or if you are running a mid-range deck. And it also depends on the creature mana cost, or the spell mana cost if you want to come out on top. Welcome to the phase step of this video. So in Magic the Gathering, there are only 5 phases. These 5 phases consist of the beginning phase, pre-combat main phase, combat phase, post-combat phase, and the end phase. It is very important to know the phases of Magic the Gathering, because you actually will find out you're making more mistakes than you really should be making. So those are the 5 main phases. However, if you go more into detail, there are more that can be revealed. You have the beginning phase, the untap step, upkeep, draw step, main phase 1, combat phase, beginning of combat step, declare attackers, declare blockers, combat damage, end of combat, ending phase, end step, and the cleanup step. So I will be going over all of them when I start playing with this deck so you can get a feel for how it works. So what do you need to play Magic? Very simple. You need a 20-sided die. I have this one from M15. Here is another one from Khans of Tarkir, which just rotated out. And I will explain all those in the next video. It's not important. You can use any 20-sided dice. If you do not have 20-sided dice, you can use these D6s. You just need enough to make 20 life points. These are the essentials plus 60 cards, and I recommend using sleeves because sleeves will protect your cards. Your deck might not be worth that much, but always having sleeves, I find it to be a lot better. So now we will go in to the actual phases and explain how the turn works. So you will take your 60 card deck and you're going to shuffle it. And you don't have to worry about professionally shuffling or anything like that. Just take these simple cards, shuffle them over like this. And then once you're done, you're going to hand it to your opponent. And your opponent is going to take the cards and split it. Then he'll hand it back to you. Once you receive your cards here, you're going to set up your life total at 20 life. And you're going to take 2d6, roll both. So I got 6, and he got 9. So now you declare who's going to go first. High roll wins. Your opponent will almost always want to go first. Same thing with you. So he declares he's going first. You're going to draw your cards. You will draw 7 cards. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Then you get the chance to look at your cards. So in my hand, I have an island. I have a Clash of the Wills card, a Brute Strength, Reality Hemorrhage, Expedite, Titan Strength, and Fury Impulse. What this does is it's a 1-drop red, deal 2 damage to target creature with a spell mastery. If I have 2 or more instant or sorcery cards in my graveyard, I deal 3 damage instead. Then I have Titan Strength, which has a target creature gets +3/+1 until end of turn. Scry. It lets me look at the top card of my library and decide if I want to keep it there or remove it. It is a 1 red mana cost. Then I have Expedite. Target creature gains haste until end of turn. Draw a card. 1 mana. We have a Reality Hemorrhage. 2 mana. Deal 2 damage to target creature or player. Devoid just says that this is a colorless spell. For instances, if you have a card that says counter target red spell, this is Devoid, colorless. That will not stop this spell from going through. We have the Brute Strength. Target creature gets +3/+1 and gains trample until end of turn. So this is my hand. Now let's see. Is it something worth keeping? We have an island, and that's it. Everything else is red. In a 2-color deck, now that you see I use blue and red, this is not a hand that I would like to keep. So I am going to mulligan. Mulligan is a term in Magic the Gathering where you take your hand, shuffle it back into your library, and draw that same number of cards you had -1. And it corresponds accordingly. If I do it again when I have 6 cards in hand, it will be 5, then 4, then 3. So it's not a good idea to mulligan a lot. Don't just do it to get the perfect hand. You will not always get the perfect hand. You will always need to try to get a hand that you believe could win you the game. Hand the deck back to the other player. He will split it again and hand the cards back to you. And then you're going to draw 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let's take a look at this. So we already got a nice land here. It covers both colors, but I have to pay a life to use it. But that's still good. We got 2 land. We have a Brute Strength again, Clash of Wills, another land, and Titan Strength. I do not have any creatures, but because I'm going second, I'm not worried. One of the nice new features that they included recently is the ability to, after you mulligan, you are allowed to look at the top card of your library and decide if you want to keep it or not. In this case, I have another Titan Strength. I will not keep that as my top card. Then you begin. Now we enter the phases. So the beginning phase, my opponent will play a land and a creature if he could. He will pass turn to me. I will draw a card. Here is a 3-drop creature. This 3-drop creature, I cannot pronounce its name, but it's a 2/3, and whenever I cast my second spell each turn, draw a card. So the only card here that I can play that I like will be the island. And then I will pass turn. The next turn comes back to me. I draw my card. And I have a 2-drop Abbot of Errol Keep. It has an ability called Prowess. I will not explain Prowess in this video. It can be very tricky for players, so I will explain it in the next video. But when you place this creature on the battlefield, you exile the top card of your library until the end of your next... Abbot of Errol Keep. It's a 2-drop creature, and it has an ability where you exile the top card of your library. Until the end of turn, you may play that card. So this is not a card you play on turn 2, it is something you do on turn 3. And I will explain that next time. So we will go ahead and place a mountain here. And we will pass turn. So it does look boring, there is nothing going on really at the moment. But the whole point of this is to set up the board. I have one of each of my main colors for my deck, so that once I start doing things, I can rampage. So, now I just draw a card. And here we go, a beautiful Storm Chaser Mage. It is a island and a mountain cost card. It has flying, haste, and prowess. And again, I will explain prowess in another video. It's just too complicated to explain all at once. So the third card that I should play will always be a another land, but I'm going to play the Abbot of Errol Keep. I'm going to have to tap 2 mana, and I get to exile the top card of my library. It is another Storm Chaser Mage. That is a bummer for me. See, Storm Chaser Mage in the exile pile. I will not be able to cast him because it is only turn 3, and I can only have 3 land out maximum. You are only allowed to play 1 land each turn unless you have a card that lets you place more than 1. So now, I placed my wonderful Abbot of Errol Keep, and on that note, I will pass turn. Turn 4. Draw a card. I have another mountain. We will place the mountain right on top of the other one. We want to be as efficient as possible. Otherwise, when people have mixed up lands and they're all sloppy or something, it gets very confusing to know if they even know what manas they have available to them. So now it is the beginning of turn 4. Let's go ahead and go in detail with the phases now that I have the correct cards I need. So, turn 4, I have a creature, a 2/1 creature on the battlefield. Let's see what I can do. Let's put on the hurt. I am actually going to just hit, instead of casting another spell, I am going to cast enough spells to make this creature deal a lot of damage. So, I need to do the steps. So, here we go. Beginning phase. I untap everything that was tapped. Then the draw step. Draw a card. We have a mountain in hand. Let's go ahead and take the mountain, place it down on the battlefield, and let's see what I can do to hurt my opponent. So I have a 2/1 creature on the battlefield. Let's buff him up and see how much damage I can deal. So this is an aggressive deck. I have a splash of blue for the control aspect, but the purpose of this deck is to punch you in the face and make you upset. So we have a 2/1 creature. I am going to tap 1 mountain and 1 swamp, like this. So they're tapped sideways, so it's easy to tell. And I'm going to cast Brute Strength. Target creature gets +3/+1 and gains trample until end of turn. Next up, I have 2 mana that's still untapped, so I will tap both, and because of the Shiver and Reef cost, I will have to lose a life to cast 2 Titan Strength. So I get to scry 1, don't want another land, and scry a second time. That's not a bad one. Okay, And once you have these out, you now declare attackers. Beginning of combat phase, I will swing with this creature. It was a 2/1, but now that I have these 3 spells, it gets +3/+1, +3/+1, +3/+1, 3, 6, 9, +2. I'm swinging for 11 damage this turn. That is a lot of damage to swing at any point in the game. So not only does his life go from 20 to 9 in one turn, it is just an astonishing thing. Now, I will actually explain a tiny bit of prowess. The way prowess works is whenever I cast a non-creature spell, that creature card gets +1/+1 until end of turn. So, in aspect of all this, if this card did not have prowess, I would be swinging for 11. But because it has prowess, I instead will be swinging for 3, 6, 9, cast 1, 10, cast 2, 11, cast 3, 12, 13, 14 damage. I just hit you for 14 damage. You have 6 life left. Chances are, based on the cards in my hand, the game will end next turn. So now we will take these cards and put them in my graveyard, which is here, and this is exile, so we'll move it up there. And now we're moving into main phase number 2. In the second main phase, that is when you place your creatures, and that is also when you do the last touch-up on your turn. Then you say, I pass turn. You ended your second main, you're done, no upkeep or anything else, and you move on. Then you pass turn to your opponent. He does what he does on his turn, he will pass turn back to you. You will untap everything you have. So it's untap, upkeep, draw. Don't forget that. Untap everything and draw a card. So we got this card again, which is something I was really excited about because Expedite actually allows me to draw a card. So we will cast a Stormchaser Mage for 2 mana. And on that note, I will cast an Expedite on my Stormchaser Mage. They both have haste, but the purpose is to proc prowess and to draw a card. So I have a Fury Impulse, and I have 1 mana left. The only card I could cast is a Fury Impulse, and I'm not going to target a creature, so I shall cast it for the purpose of just casting a spell. My opponent had 6 life left. I will swing with both these cards for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 damage. And that is how you take a person's life total from 20 to 0 by turn 5 with an aggressive deck. Some decks are more efficient and can end the game faster. But now that you have a simple understanding on how to play Magic the Gathering, let me know in the comments if this video was helpful, and start making those decks and play against your friends, you guys. Magic is a really fun game. Take care and have a wonderful day, you guys. Bye.